So now we move on to the last speaker of the session. Last but certainly not least, Bob Savage is going to talk to us about leadership and emotional intelligence. Bob is the Vice President for EMEA for the Centre of Excellence for Dell EMC. Dell wasn't mentioned in the original brochure, but Dell and EMC have come together recently. That shows you the fast-moving world of the business, or the IT business. Bob has worked with EMC for over 28 years. He's played key roles, and over the last 8 or 10 years or so has been in charge of a very, very successful Centre of Excellence in Cork, employing over 3,000 people. In his spare time, he is president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ireland during this present year, and he's also chair of the governing body in Cork Institute of Technology. So I'd like you to welcome Bob to the podium, please.
I was not going to say this, but I'll say good evening. A former boss of mine would say when you're last, you're standing between people and the bar. Maybe that's not appropriate in this setting. Bill, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for getting me here, because it's been a very emotional afternoon, and I'm going to talk a little bit, or try to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence and leadership. But I want to start by talking a little bit about innovation. And it's very much about ours and my experience in our technical journey. But, you know, we had a lot of work to do in our space over years to try to make people understand that innovation is not just about science, technology, and products. Innovation is about people, it's about connections, collaborations, it's about doing things that others aren't doing, and doing things that haven't been done before. And I think that certainly comes through here today. I also, as I see Harry over here, I have experienced the Bon Secours health system effect, and to very good effect, recently enough. As Paddy said, I'm delighted to talk to you today as a Dell Technology or a Dell EMC team member. And we have an aspiration to be the trusted advisors to our partners, to our customers, on their journey to digital transformation. I'm responsible for a Centre of Excellence, which I will attempt to put a definition on a little later, in Cork, in Cairo, and in St. Petersburg. As Paddy said, I had an easy transition into the chair of the governing body of Cork Institute of Technology, because Paddy had that before me. And I see Mark Redmond here, who's CEO of the American Chamber. And we talked a lot about collaboration and networks and relationships today. And if I look at this, this has been a huge privilege year to be president of the Chamber, representing, as the ambassador talked a little bit about this morning, that rich US-Ireland relationship, and indeed the 140,000 people that are directly employed in very high-value jobs in that sector. What I like more than all about it is, as a network, and credit to the executive, listening to what the needs strategically of our members are. And it's interesting, when we talk here today, the top three here are skills, talent, and innovation. And it's very fitting that we're outside the M50, because one of the things we heard as well as we were preparing our strategy is focus more on the regions. It is truly a great organization, and I think foreign direct investment from the US gives so much back in terms of CSR, and we talked about that earlier as well. If there's one theme about my talk, and it's very relevant following on from Brendan, it's all about people. Our former CEO used to say, we're not a technology company, we're a people company who work in technology. So let's have a little look at this digital transformation. We're at the early stages of it. Of course, it's driven by technology, cloud, social, mobile, big data, and Internet of Things. And I believe the Internet of Things is going to be very important. But besides that, it's going to change a lot more. Job descriptions, business processes. And we talked culture earlier. It's going to change because there's a realization that we now have to collaborate more in this digital world. Where we are now in Dell EMC, we're thinking about, let's think for a minute about what's happening now, what's happened in the last couple of years, but I'd urge everybody to think, what's going to happen between now and 2030? We think of Netflix, Uber, Airbnb. The ambassador talked about the driverless car. I'll talk about the software car, because the car has become software, and this software driving of the world is going to change things and create a lot of opportunity. You could call it the next industrial revolution. But technology is most definitely now transforming the way we work and live, and the Internet of Things is transforming every industry and every sector. We want everything, and we want it now, and we want it wherever we are. So the workplace is transforming. And especially in this sector, in the healthcare sector, security has to be a very important part of what you do. As I say, this is about people, and it affects every one of us in whatever sector or whatever business we're in. Don't have time to go into a great detailed example, but Dell EMC with Vodafone have created a test bed to test out in a collaborative way new solutions in this new era. One of them is for the ambulance service here, and it's about collecting that data and figuring where best ambulances should be, and I won't go into any more than that, because I've been asked to speak about leadership and emotional intelligence. When I hear of leadership, I think of a former boss of mine who used to say to me, you know, when someone stands up and talks to you about the vision or strategy of a company, it has to be inspiring, it has to influence you to the point that you nearly want to come to work for nothing. I've had the privilege, especially this year as president of the chamber, to go around and talk around the country, and I've reflected a lot, because sometimes I feel I've put leadership up there and kind of forgotten about management. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. And one thing that I keep reminding myself of is, to use that American phrase, you must walk the walk, you must do it yourself. You know, leadership is about strategy, it's about vision, it's about setting a direction, it's about putting values in place, etc. But management is also about people. It's about organizing, controlling, it's about doing the here and now. And what I would say to everybody is, both are important. And, you know, when I was listening to Bill at the start, and it does resonate, patience, customers, partnership, collaboration, planning, but he did say a bias to action. And a bias to action, all plans, as my wife would say, are great. Where's the action coming after it? Let me put a definition on our Centre of Excellence that we've journeyed through for the last 7 or 8 years. The definition we've put in there is a Centre of Excellence is about people. It's about the talented, motivated, career-minded individuals who are part of the many business units that are part of Dell EMC. But the secret sauce is when the people from those business units come together to do something unique, something different, something of value to our customers and partners. That is, in many ways, the secret sauce. And that is really what it's all about. It really is all about people. And as Brendan said, values are so important. Missions and visions can change, but your values guide your behavior. For us, and they're changing a bit now because we are transforming, we have 4. Our people, our customers, or the total customer experience, always innovating. We don't exist in a low-cost economy. We have to drive value at a higher level. And a better tomorrow, which really is our relationship with the community, with government, with the environment, and with academia. So, they're the characteristics of leadership. One important part of leadership is empowering and mentoring teams, having the trust to empower people to get on with their job. And it leads me to talking a little bit about mentoring. Now, I'll bring that one step further when it comes, because when you talk about leadership, you have to have leaders. And leaders have to be able to learn, evolve, and adapt. And it can be a lonely place at times, certainly in some of our sectors. Well, I go beyond mentoring, I go to a trusted advisor. A trusted advisor for me is someone who will tell you what you need to hear as opposed to what you want to hear as you're going on this leadership journey. As I led the then EMC, now Dell EMC Centre of Excellence in Cork, I was given a job description by my peers and by my bosses. Embrace change, build a unified team, connect everybody across the organisation and break silos. I think we've made some headway here, and I think silo breaking is so important in this sector. Build strong relationships, drive a culture of innovation, make then EMC, now Dell EMC, an employer of choice, a great place to work and not just a badge over the door, and communicate in a single voice. Dermot talked earlier, and it's something that we've learned. I'm an engineer, but I've learned more to be a marketer, because We've made a lot of headway in our journey as a Centre of Excellence over the last number of years. We're not taking it for granted. But one thing I have learned is, do not assume that people know what you do. And do not assume the great things that you are doing is known by everybody. And that was a point that Dermot made earlier. Now, when I take the trusted advisor piece and the leader characteristics, I'll bring on to emotional intelligence. Now, in any of these, go Google some of this and reflect on it. What is leadership? What is emotional intelligence? There are models out the yin-yang on this. But I've picked a few simple ones from Daniel Goleman that has helped guide me. Because when you're in this business, you must have that intellectual intelligence. That goes without saying. When you get the mix of the proper emotional intelligence elements, that's where you can really make effect as a leader in times of transformational change. You must be motivated. You must have empathy, particularly with your boss. We all have bosses. You must certainly, and this is back to the trusted advisor, be self-aware. You must understand your own shortcomings and your development areas and constantly work on those. You must have social skills. You must be able to interact. This is a very much collaborative team game. And you must be politically aware. My boss would tell me that's knowing when to talk and knowing when to shut up. So I figured I'd put together just some of my own learnings over the last 5 or 10 years in terms of what I've learned in this whole leadership space, just for you to think on. Some of it may be relevant, some may not. Something we're very important with the Chamber is the importance of lifelong learning and the opportunity to change your career. Only you can plan and manage your career. Find a trusted advisor. Build a great network and strong relationships. Leverage this great technology that's around us now to enhance you and your organization in an appropriate way. Open the door for people who want to be great. Give them an opportunity. You can learn from anyone, anywhere. You can never over-communicate, and please, a message from me, learn to listen. Recognize people, not just the reward of financials or whatever. Go out there and figure out what people are doing and acknowledge what they're doing in a walk-around way. Policies and procedures are very, very important. Processes are important, but integrity and sincerity is absolutely vital. This is a fast-moving world, and work rates tend to go up at times. What I say to myself and my team, be capable of a 75-hour week. You can't do it all the time, so you've got to know when you need to do it. And for God's sake, be honest about your shortcomings, at least to yourself. That's just a few thoughts in that area, and I'm still on time. When Bill was preparing me for this, I saw obviously a lot of quotes. In the arena is one I use myself from President Roosevelt. But in EMC, we've gone through, and Dell EMC, many transformations that were of significant nature. One of them was the employment of Lean Six Sigma, total customer quality, a 10-year journey. I was given a book, and I'll finish on this. I was given a book to read called Making Change Happen. And it was from a person by the name of King Whitney Jr., who I didn't know and only recently figured out he was a civil rights worker. But it goes as follows. Change has a considerable impact on the human mind. To the fearful, it's worrying because things may get worse. To the hopeful, it's encouraging because things may get better. And finally, to the confident, and I'd add in myself as my boss did, not arrogant, it's inspiring because conditions exist to make things better. Thank you very much.